All right. Hey there, tree huggers and tree lovers. This is Suzanne with 100 for Trees. And we have a special guest today. Right before we bring him out, I just want to say thank you for being here. My name is Suzanne. I'm the founder of 100 for Trees. I love trees and I love running. So I combine the two in order to help trees. And I run 100 miles every single month out of the year. We started last year in order to raise funds and awareness for trees. So along this journey, I've met some really cool people. They all have amazing stories. And one of the gentlemen that I'm going to bring up to the plate here in just a minute is an amazing guy. I met him on Instagram, followed him for a little while. Really good guy, gives back to the community. And that was one of the biggest things I noticed. Then then I get to know him, find out a lot more things. We had him on the show. It was great. He continued to go on his journey. So we brought him on to do a little bit of a follow-up. And in that time period, he ended up donating to 100 for Trees too. So yay, Tom. So we're about to bring Tom on. Without further ado, want to bring this gentleman to the stage, Tom Monte. How's it going, Tom?
Good to be here. Thanks for having me
Thank
on.
you. Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. I just want to say right before we get started, Tom, I need your address because we want to send you a 100 for Trees shirt to thank you,
Yep.
to thank you for donating. You are such a generous man, and we so appreciate it.
I'll message you that after we get off the call. I don't want to
Awesome.
rest everybody.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yes, but thank you. Everybody needed to know, though. Here's
Yeah.
the man right here. So, yes, cool. So, Tom, you have been on some adventures since we saw you last. Tom is an ultra runner, by the way, y'all. He also gives back to the community by volunteering his time to help a lot of these races, these ultra races, which are big events. You know, that this actually is a multi-day thing, even though they only have a certain amount of time that they can complete the 100 miles in or the 100K or whatever distance it is that they're running. And I'll let Tom go into that a little bit more. But he has just finished up running several races as well as, or throughout this season, he has ran several races. He's just finished up one as well as helping with that race. And so we wanted to get your inside view of what happens on the back end of these ultra races. I'm sorry, my dog found a plastic container and he's running around with it. I'm going to see if he'll give it to me just real quick. Come here, baby. Come here. Come here. All right, got it. Okay, he'll make noise the whole time if I don't do that. Good boy, Kenobi. So, yes, back to you, Tom.
Yeah.
I want to hear kind of what happens on the back end. And then if you could just give us an insight of what happened in that particular race, the Grasslands Trail Runs, which is the shirt that he has on right now. Great race, by the way, y'all. That was my first marathon ever. Beautiful trails. It was awesome. If you want to give us just a little bit of insight of your personal journey on that and some of the races that have led up to that as well.
Oh, real quick, I want to introduce you to my
What is this? Oh, this is a bonsai.
bonsai.
Yes.
Our last
I have that written down next to your name on my notes. Ask about bonsai tree.
I'm learning about it. I actually did the first trimming, which I don't know. I guess I did it right. It just says basically to trim anything that grows outside the canopy to trim it. So I've got this one piece here that I don't know if I want to trim it or not, but I'm learning. It's a journey, but I wanted to introduce the bonsai tree. So, and it's been a month or so and hasn't died yet. So that's good.
It's beautiful. I love it, Tom. That is awesome, y'all. This Tom, let me just say this real quick before you get started. Tom is definitely an action person. He even has a really great quote that he said to us last time. For things to happen, you have to put yourself out there. So when we were on the last interview, he was like, if I were going to be a tree, I would be a bonsai tree. And then boom, he went out and got one. He's taking care of it. He's learning about it. So that's a perfect physical example of somebody who absolutely takes action into the physical realm. So tell us more about that, Tom.
About the tree?
No, about Grasslands, like you taking action. Yeah.
So actually, I signed up for Grasslands and I've always been a volunteer with Blaze Trails. I'm an ambassador with Blaze Trails, which Blaze Trails is a race company and a race and trail event company. And then I'm also employed part-time with Trailhead Running Supply, which is a running specialty store in Flower Mound, Texas. And so during that time, I got to know Ann and Chris at Blaze Trails. They were looking to bring somebody on part-time. So I got hired part-time, and then I had the opportunity to work behind the scenes, you know, putting things together, seeing what happens on the backside. And Ann and Chris are really just, I'm going to say, some of the best in the industry, at least in North Texas or in Texas. The races that I've run, very, very much attention to detail. I mean, if you knew how much time I spent and I got paid doing it, putting together these flags, the confidence markers. I mean, we took the extra step and we added reflectors to it, and it cost Blaze Trails money to do that, but they want to make sure that you're able to find your way on the trail day or night. So anyway, I got to see that, got to see, the pre-planning, the packing of the food for each of the aid stations. So, I'm learning some stuff on the back end. I got to be involved in the packet pickup at the store. So I got to see what happens to that. Who knows, someday I may be a co-director of a race. I don't
I
know.
could see that. I could
But
see that happening.
but I love it. I mean, I love what I'm doing. I love where I'm at. I got introduced to trail running back in 2020, and that was through volunteering. My brother kind of, in a roundabout way, got me into trail running. He's kind of taking a break, but he's an avid or was an avid trail runner. He's done the race across Tennessee. He's done Mogollon twice.
Wait. The race across Tennessee. What's that? Like all the way across the state?
That's a road race.
Whoa.
They have a self-supported and a one where you can have a crew. He did it self-supported,
Oh,
and
wow.
it's something that Laz puts on. The Barkley. Same,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that. All right.
300 and something miles, I believe, and they start from, I think it's the Missouri border, and then they
Okay.
go way over and they end on the Georgia border. So he's done that. So anyway, he inspired me, and so I went and volunteered at Running the Rose, which at the time was trail racing over Texas,
Mm-hmm.
and got introduced to the trail running community, Dallas Dirt Runners, which is
Mm-hmm.
a club I'm a part of, and I fell in love with it. And a month later, I ended up doing my first ultra, which was Jackalope Jam, which was basically an out and back to a cone, 0.75 miles out in on some farmland, and then come back and do that I did it for 20 hours. So I got to 68 miles, got my first 100K buckle,
Wow. Wait. So you're going like you're doing loops.
back and forth.
How many
Back,
loops did you do?
I don't, whatever, it's a mile and a half. So
Oh my God. I've
60,
never done one of those.
68 miles divided by 1.5. So
Wow.
yeah, I kind of liked it because the whole time you're seeing people. It's, you'll run with somebody for a short time, and then you won't see them, and then you'll see them again. And like when you're on like 100 miler or 100K or even a 50K,
Mm-hmm.
you take off in the first hour or two, you may see people, and then all of a sudden you're out there.
Yeah, solo.
Yeah. And I kind of like, and that's one thing when we get to grasslands is,
Mhm.
you know, the one time that I completed my 100 miler, I had a pacer and a guy that crewed me. Uh,
Oh, that makes a huge difference.
but I'm one of those that I really like to. Well, first of all, I'm not one to ask for help. I'm just not. It's just my personality. So when you're in 100 miler and you hit that dark spot and you hit that
Yeah.
slow, I like to be able to pull myself out of it.
Hmm.
But the more I think about it, I think the next time I am going to have a pacer towards the end, just to keep me moving faster, because you can
Yeah.
get out and kind of la. You're like just walking along and not really paying attention and just kind of not necessarily enjoying it, but enjoying it in a way. And
Hmm.
next thing you know, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm doing a 25-minute mile.
Yeah. You're right.
So I need to get over my stubbornness and just, I think my next 100 miler, I will have, I know the benefits. I've seen the benefits of it.
Amen.
Yeah. And even just a crew. I mean, because I spent, I spent a lot of time in at the main aid, because we saw them at Grasslands. We saw the main aid station 6, 7, 8 times because it's like a clover leaf. So you go
Yeah.
out, do a loop, come back, do a loop, come back. So each time, 5 minutes, 10 minutes adds up. It's
Hmm.
in like probably an hour and a half at the aid station. So even just having crew and
Hmm.
having a checklist of, hey, when I come in, this is what I need.
Right.
A couple of minutes. So anyway, it's it's a lesson I learned a long time ago, but still continue down that the path. But I do. I think the next 100 miler, I'm gonna, and that's the thing is at grasslands and everywhere else, there's people waiting. They're like,
Yeah.
hey, need a pacer? We got somebody for you. Stephanie Lakey, she's a big part of the community. They have Happy Endings podcast, and one thing they do, they go to a lot of these races, and they'll start recruiting pacers and just have them waiting around, and
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, so she's been a big a big part of the community. And if you follow her on Instagram or Facebook, she's either running a race or crewing somebody or pacing somebody. So that's just what the community's about. Get involved, you see that it's it's a place you can call home.
That's so true. The last time you were on here, and we've actually had several ultra runners on here, and they all say the same thing. And I don't prompt them to say this real well. I don't know. I would have to look back. Maybe I did. But whenever we're doing the one-on-one interviews that I talk to them before we come on here, all of them talk about the community and that pulling them into the ultra world, which I have my own story too, where I can 100% agree on that. You said some interesting things as you were flying through that. There's actually, we can unpack what you just said and spend like hours.
Got talking pretty fast. So, and
no.
I've never been known to be accused of being succinct. So
I think you're doing great, Tom. I had a friend who told me one time, I don't talk fast, you listen slow. That's what somebody told me.
Yeah.
So I love it. But so I just want to come back to some of those because you have a career, you have several races under your belt now. So before we talk about the backstage stuff that occurs, or actually let's go there first because I'm actually very curious. Real quick, tell me about the food. When you're setting up the aid stations, what does that process look like to have that food out there? I'm just curious.
Tempting to eat
Tempting, right?
Yeah. The aid stations, if people don't know, you've got, anything from the healthy stuff like oranges, bananas, maybe not necessarily apples because they don't sit very well, on a table. Baked potatoes, salted potatoes, and then of course you can either at Blaze Trails they do Gatorade and water for hydration, and then also you got cookies, chips, beef broth, chicken broth, vegetable broth, ramen, overnight food when it gets hot or when it gets cold. They'll warm up some warm foods, cheese quesadillas. So
Are they cooking it out there?
What's that?
Are they cooking it out there?
Yeah, they bring the aid stations have a griddle, and so they'll when it comes time, they'll cook them cook a few of them in advance and have them ready for the runners coming in. An overnight run, pancakes, pancakes, bacon.
Oh yeah,
not really eggs. That's a little more. The pancakes are really easy to make, and the pancakes just go like they fly off the table. I mean, people love those. Some people will take them and wrap bacon in them.
Right, just eat them on the way.
Exactly. So there's just all kinds of foods. At Grasslands, one thing I did, I'm a predominantly plant-based athlete. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Sometimes after a good race or a good workout, I'll go to Whataburger. That's my
that's your go-to.
Yeah. So, but at this race, I decided, you know what, I'm going to stick to Tailwind Endurance, which is their hydration fuel, and it's got electrolytes and carbs. And then,
do you do the caffeinated version of that?
No, I just the different flavors they have, like berry and mandarin, and then I had my own stuff. I air fried a bunch of baked potatoes, chopped them up in little chunks, and put them in a bag.
Good.
And then also a chickpea salad sandwich. Cut it up into 4 pieces. Have a cooler at my main aid station, so put them in snack baggies, and every couple of hours I'll grab one, and just so I have some heavy food in my stomach. And do this. I'm on my phone. I'm getting a message. And then at the aid stations, I made a commitment: stay away from the cookies, the M&Ms. Oh, that's another thing. M&Ms are my M&Ms and Oreos.
Yeah, and they are all on the table, y'all. You go up there, and it's just like laid out.
So so I stayed away from all of the junk food. I just, I had oranges, bananas, and then whatever I carried myself. And then towards the end, I'm kind of jumping around here, but
No, that's cool.
towards the end of grasslands, whenever I knew my race was almost over, because I was chasing a cutoff and I wasn't going to make it. At the last aid station, I said, you know what? I deserve this. I'm going to have I grabbed a couple of Oreo cookies and a little snack baggie of M&Ms and took it all in. And within 10 minutes, my stomach was, I wasn't sick. I could feel.
Yeah.
Stomach wasn't agreeing with this high content sugar.
Right.
Foods. I think personally, just from my experience, for me, processed foods just don't sit well on an event like that. So
they don't sit well for any of us, Tom.
yeah.
They really don't. We should, processed food is really, Joey and I have actually done a podcast on that before. It's that I think it's directly related to a lot of the health issues that we see. So I'm with you on that. It's, I have to admit, I see some peanut M&Ms, they look good and I want them too. So I'm not like above it. I'm just saying, I know what it does. I'm right there with you. And gut health, if you guys don't know, gut health is so important on a race, because a lot of people think, oh, your knees give out or your cardio. No. You're usually great in that area. It's if your gut health starts messing with you, though, that can throw your whole race. Yep. So that's really important.
And just in life in general. Your mental health and physical health.
Hormones. Yep.
Everything. There's so much information. You follow me on Instagram, and I'm always sharing podcasts and reels of stuff just to help people. Little changes every day, can make a big difference. And I'm not a professional doctor. I'm not a doctor. I'm not licensed or anything, but I'm learning enough, and I follow the right podcasts. Like Dr. Andrew Huberman, Peter. And there's several others that I follow that they're legit, and that they're scientists, and so I learn everything I can just to improve my health every day, and it just takes little steps.
Yeah, absolutely. And Peter Attia specializes in longevity too. So the things that he's testing and looking at, and Andrew Huberman's very similar. They aren't looking at short-sighted things. They're looking at what am I going to be whenever I'm 80 years old, 90 years old, 100. Dave Asprey is another big, I think he coined the phrase biohacking, or he gets credit with it. And he tells people all the time, I'm going to live till I'm 120, 130. That's what I'm going for. Right. So there's a whole different mindset with these people. I love that. And yes, I put Tom's Instagram down there. He absolutely is true to his word. He does do that. He posts a lot of great content on there. I learn a lot of stuff whenever his information pops up on my feed. So I really like that. Well, Tom, I want to switch gears here for just a second. You were talking before we started recording, and I didn't want to say too much because it was so good, and I knew we needed to save it for this. You were talking about you have ran several 100-milers, and let's start with this. Let's start with the grasslands one. You said you knew you were chasing a cutoff that you felt you weren't going to make. I think a lot of people have a preconceived idea with ultra running that it's about finishing it or it's about a particular time. And while it is for some people, there's a much bigger, it's a journey. An ultra run is a journey, because I tell people all the time, you have two races. One is training to get to the starting line. That's a whole race within itself right there. Because once you start, you really don't know where that race is going to take you. It's a journey the minute you start it and you go. So tell us about how grasslands went, and maybe include some of your other ultras and your journeys on those as well.
So backing up, I don't remember if I've talked about this in this podcast. You can cut it out if I did, but Lake Murray was a race I did in October. I DNF'd that one. It was tons of rain. It was a mud fest, and so.
Well, wait. Tell us about that. Tell us about the rain real quick, because tons of rain, people don't understand. Tell us about that real quick.
It rained leading up to it. Stopped raining the day before. Got to the start line. Within 5 minutes, 10 minutes after we started, it started raining, and literally it rained. I ran for 21 hours, wow. And I would say 19 to 20 of those hours it rained. And I was soaking wet. And one thing, I learned, running in the rain, there's things you can do to make your run better, which is take care of your feet. I run in Gingy toe socks Lone Peak, Ultra is my go-to shoe, and the Lone Peak is my trail shoe.
Yeah.
I use dang it, what's the foot lube?
Trail toes.
Trail toes, yeah.
Yeah.
Trail toes, and
Mm-hmm. Good stuff.
and during that race, I changed my socks and shoes once, and I probably didn't need to, but I just felt like dry my feet, get them cleaned, and put on some new shoes. So anyway, it rained the whole time, and one thing I wish I would have had, and if you know rain is coming, trekking poles. Because later in the race, I thought, why do people have trekking poles? I mean, it's just a little bit of rain. And later in the race, I mean, I had to, my headlamp went out like 5 miles before the finish line.
Oh man.
I usually bring a backup headlamp, so I just grabbed the backup or whatever. Didn't have any backup batteries. So I waited, and a few minutes later, a guy came by, and I was basically on his tail. I mean, I was right, because I couldn't see. It was muddy, slippery. You know, we're going through, there's not a lot of elevation, but there's a lot of creek crossings. So you're going down these real slippery. And so, yeah, trekking poles are important. And when we go forward to grasslands, I had trekking poles, so that helped. But, and one thing I kind of talking about the trail community, the importance of, you know, the volunteers and the surrounding community. So I don't remember what time frame it was, but there was a point where I was ready. This is the tower is you go because it's an out and back. So you go all the way to the tower, and then you come back for a loop. And I mean it's a loop, but the tower is basically the turnaround point. And I was thinking, because that was a place where I could drop and I could get a ride back to the main aid station. And so I'm heading that way, and the whole time I'm like, I'm done. This is ridiculous. I was moving slow. It was raining. I was miserable. Get to the aid station, and Darren Beck, who's one of the owners of Trailhead Running Supply, he was there. And the first thing he did whenever I walked up there, he gave me a big hug and goes, "Man, I'm proud of you." And he had no idea that I was thinking about quitting. So I said, "Nope, it ain't happening. I didn't tell him. I just went through the process, went to the aid, got my food, refilled my water bottle, and went back on my way. Well, when you go back out, you kind of go down this hill, and the aid station's up here, and you can kind of hear what's going on up there. And as I'm heading down the hill, I hear him tell the other aid station guy, he's not a quitter. He's not going to quit. And so I'm thinking, oh man, I said, I can't. Because then I was thinking, well, there's another aid station between that I could stop. There's two of them that I could quit. You know, I could just say I'm done. And then having that in my mind, thinking, you know what, I'm going to keep moving. And so basically I timed out. Right at 100K. I get into the main aid station, and Ann Barnwell, who's one of the race directors, husband and wife, Ann and Chris. Ann's like, you've timed out, but I could get an unofficial 100K. I'd already been at 100. I was already at 100 kilometers. There's a 5-mile loop after the start finish. She said, if you do that 5-mile loop, we'll give you an unofficial finish. And I think you still get a buckle, but it's unofficial, which means to do 67 miles. At that point, I was already at almost 30-minute miles. And I told her, I said, I'm done. Yeah, I have nothing to prove. So 3:00 in the morning, I called it, and then I kind of jumped forward. I know we're kind of on. Hopefully not on. I'm probably on a time limit. We all are. I signed up for running the roads.
Wait, do you mean we're on a time limit here in this interview?
I'm not. I mean, I'm not. Are you?
Oh yeah, time is fluid, man. This is my interview. We can go as long as we want.
Okay. And like I said, I'm not known for being succinct, and I'll keep me on track.
We are flowing, man. This is our thing. You just keep going.
So signed up for running the roads. I signed up for the I think it was 106 kilometer, 66 miles. And that's my sweet spot. The 100-kilometer, 70 miles seems to be.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. And so between grasslands and running the roads, I decided I was going to start doing speed work at the track. Well, I didn't think about running the roads being, I mean, I think it's about 110, 115 feet per mile. So it's a good, for North Texas, that's a good vert. So
yes, it is.
got my speed up and everything. But then I was like, oh, wait, there's a couple of really good climbs on this. So anyway, I still had a good race, but I ended up coming away with that with a, I don't, it was not a knee injury necessarily, but something was going on with my right knee. And stepping back, I realized that I hadn't done any vert training leading up to that. So that was a lesson learned, but I still did very well. I mean, when I finished the race, it hurt. And so between that race and grasslands, we had in the store, we had a physical therapist come in, and she gave us a list of, it's called the top 10 things every runner should do every day. And so I started doing some of those to strengthen, because what part of the problem is the quads, your quads, your calves, and your hamstring, and all that needs strengthening. And I hadn't been, so I did that for, between running the rows and grasslands, and I still do it. And the knees so much better. It's like, I would say at 90% now.
Awesome.
Then we'll jump to grasslands. So grasslands was going to be my redemption run, one of my redemption runs from what you call it, Lake Murray. So that was going to be, I just had a DNF. I need to get my 100, another 100. I didn't need.
Wait. Let's stop for a minute. That's very interesting, if you don't mind. Okay, you had the DNF. All right, I got to get my 100. Tell me about that. Like, what drives you? Why?
It's one of those things that I know I can do it, and I'm not going to give up. I've done it before, and and like I said, one of the mistakes I made was not having a pacer, a crew, or pacer.
Crew makes a huge difference.
Even just having a crew would have helped. Have somebody focus on me, and even just coming in there and saying, "Come on, man, you're looking good," and that were there to do that. Every time I come in, man, you look great, you look strong. But so yeah, that 100-mile distance is just right now seems to be fleeting. But then I look back at the situations. There's stories, not excuses. There's just stories behind each of those DNFs where it wasn't injury. I mean, one of them was really, truly, or two of them were truly, I just couldn't go any further, which was Screaming Monkey and my first attempt at Dinosaur Valley. I mean, I couldn't move any further. My legs were just, at the pace I could move, I wouldn't be able to make the cutoffs. So grasslands, went into it. It rained a lot leading up to it.
Here we come with the rain again. It makes a huge difference, y'all. Rain, when it muddies the ground, it will literally suck your shoe off as you're running.
But the week before, it pretty much cleared up. I mean, grasslands, we were kind of not wishing for a lot, obviously not wishing for a lot of rain, but just the rain, because there's a lot of sand.
Yes, there is out there. There is.
Rain would kind of settle the sand down a little bit. So it rained a little bit the night before, not much. Take off on the race. I get 30 kilometers in or 50 kilometers in, and the forecast was calling for rain around 11 a.m., between 11 and noon, and it happened. I mean, between 11 and noon, it started raining, and it just kept raining, and it just became a muddy mess. So during that loop, that's when I remember I've got trekking poles. So I got back in from that. I grabbed the trekking poles, and it made a huge difference.
Does it really? I've never used them.
In the mud. In the
mud, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it helped, because the mud sucked in your feet. You're able to kind of just pull yourself through on those little uphills, just having those poles to help you pull up. I mean, there are people there's some videos out there of some people on their hands and knees crawling up the hill because it just became so slick.
Yeah.
You couldn't get up the hill. So I grabbed the trekking poles at about 50 kilometers or after the 50K, and it just rained and rained and rained. And then up until about 55 miles, I was feeling pretty good. I mean, even when I came in, people were saying, "Man, you look good, look really good." It was at about mile 65 where things went south. And
What
again,
happened?
just I wasn't moving.
Mhm.
I just my mind, you get out there, like I said, you're by yourself. I haven't seen anybody for an hour
Yeah.
or so, and you just kind of get in the zone and you forget
Mhm.
what you're doing, and you've got some cutoffs to make. So
Yeah.
I started slowing down, and eventually, like mile 70, when I got back in, I knew I was done. I mean, I already looked at my watch and I was like, I would have had to done the last 50K in 9 hours, and
Mhm.
I've been able to do it. And I knew I had to go back to. Well, here's the other thing. So leaving mile 55, um, I was thinking we did each loop twice, every
Uh-huh.
clover leaf twice. Well, the 100 milers did the yellow loop 3 times. Well, the yellow loop became the nastiest. I mean,
Uh,
it was
yeah.
seriously like Murray, and it kind of literally because and on the bibs they Ann and Chris had put the color codes for each loop. So when you came in, because it's hard to keep up, which loop do I go to next?
Right,
They
right.
they took a Sharpie and would mark through the loop you finished, so you know what the next loop is. So I looked at my
Uh,
wait a minute, I'm not ahead of schedule. I still got 4 more loops. I got 3 of the regular loops plus the yellow loop, and I went, oh man.
oh
And it kind of
man.
yellow loop was the last one, and
Yeah.
it took the wind out of my sails a little bit. And then,
Yeah.
so anyway, I ended up. So when I came into the main aid station, Chris Barnwell was there to welcome me, and I just, we have the timing chip on my ankle, and I just
Mhm.
my foot up, stuck my foot up to him. He goes, "Do you know the routine?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm obviously behind the cutoffs." He said, "Yeah, you're done." So I
Mhm.
mean, he didn't say it like that, but
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I DNF'd at 70 miles. Still happy with it. I mean,
Mhm.
in that condition, it far exceeds a 70-mile attempt, I
Yeah.
believe. And I think anybody out there would tell you that, you know, if you were in that mud, if you were doing a marathon, it
Yeah.
it's more than a marathon because it's just the mud is sucking at your feet and your slide.
Yes.
Some people. I had a friend who had some kind of injury, like an abductor on the inside of her leg or something. She's
Mhm.
at, and just because you're not only that, but you're also sliding different directions, and it just people have messes up their knees. So anyway,
Mhm.
so I finished it, and I'm not done with 100 milers yet, and I won't be for a while.
That's right. That's right. I feel the same way. I can feel them. I can feel when I have another one in me still. I can feel whenever there's like a break time coming or when one's starting to build, you know. And for any of y'all who don't know, a DNF is did not finish. And we were talking before we started recording that I DNF'd a race in Rocky Raccoon and it was raining and it was same deal, raining the whole time. It was a mud fest. It had been raining up, the days up into it as well. And you really, that's the first time I've ever ran in something like that. And once again, it's the same as Tom. These aren't excuses. They're observations you make as you're running. You're like, wow, I really underestimated the power of, wet dirt,
Yeah,
sand, and the way that it makes my feet feel like I'm pulling 20 pounds on each foot every single time I pick it up, plus my shoes being sucked off and everything else that goes with it. And you're all wet. And so there's so much that goes into it. And Tom, you were saying before that DNF does not stand for did not finish for you. What does it stand for?
did not fail.
Did not fail. I love that.
It depending on your mindset. Some people will look at it and feel it. You're gonna feel it. You finish. You get the DNF. You're disappointed. That's normal. Go through the emotions, but then to step back and look at what you know where you could have improved. And I know my I need to just look at. I say it again: crew and or pacer, and so
Yes.
there's nothing wrong with that. So
Huge difference, man. Huge difference. I was crewed for the first time ever. I'd ran at least 7 ultras before I was ever crewed and had a pacer. And this past 100 miler that I did in December, Joey crewed me. And then I ran into, I call them ultra angels. They're people that you meet out there that are just, I mean, it's why we love the community. They're freaking angels. And so I met this crew of guys and they were just, you know how it is. Like you kind of run behind them and you watch them for a while and you're like, okay, I can run that pace. And so then you go catch them and you're
Yeah.
like, hey, can we all run together? And so then you're instant friends for, at least maybe 30 miles. But these guys let me hang on to them for the whole race. And my point of that is that race, I don't know if I would have finished it if I hadn't had Joey and the Ultra Angels, Rodney Thrift. He was the one who spearheaded it, and then he had a crew. I mean, Tom, these guys had like toolboxes and they were at every stop, and they're like, "What do you need?" And they pull down it was like juke, 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 juke. He was like MacGyver there. He could have made a bomb with everything he had in there, and it made such a difference,
Yeah.
the whole time.
So yeah, so my next race will be Possum's Revenge, which is I'm going back for my third buckle. 69 miles is the longest distance. So again, that's my sweet spot. I don't want to go into it overconfident. I mean,
Yeah.
I've done the first time in 2021, and then 2023 I did the 69 miler and PR'd it by an hour and 20 minutes, I think.
Oh, nice.
So I would like to do better than improve upon last year's. And so they have four different buckles. So I've got I'm going for my third one, and ultimately get the fourth, get the whole collection.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be in May, I think May 18th at Possum Kingdom Lake.
Oh, awesome. Possum Kingdom. Didn't who was it? Somebody has a song about that called Possum. What's the name of that group?
The Toadies.
The Toadies. That's it. I love them. I used to play them all the time in college.
They play that on repeat sometimes at the race.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I hope you like their songs.
Yeah, Around the Lake Tonight.
Yes. Around the lake tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, they were. I think they're from Dallas.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Yeah. Yeah. I used to wear that song out whenever I was in college. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, cool. Well, we'll have to then get an update from you when we have you back on later on for that too. But yeah. So, okay, if there's somebody out there who's an ultra runner and is thinking to themselves, has maybe never had a DNF before and is just going through the process, what thoughts would you tell them to keep in mind?
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned, go through it, feel it.
Mm-hmm.
If yelling's your thing, or punching something's your thing, or don't kick your dog,
Yeah. Please don't.
But anything that just go through the feelings. If it takes a day or a week, but don't give up. Regardless of your distance, whether it's DNF in a 5K, or a mile or whatever, just keep moving. And again, find yourself a community of whether it's a run group or a run group, a trail run community, whatever it might be, people that you can run with and that encourage you, hold you accountable. That's important. And that's important to my success is because of the people that I surround myself with.
Mm-hmm.
Like for instance, our store, we're really big about, when I say the store, I consider it my store too, because I love it so much. I mean, it's a great place. If you're in the Dallas Fort Worth area or traveling to Dallas Fort Worth, stop in Trailhead Running Supply, Flower Mound, Texas. But we have all kinds of events. We have free yoga in the store every Monday night. We have Thursday night run group, Sunday morning trail group, and then also we're having not this Thursday, but next Thursday we have a group in Dallas called Below Average Runners. It's a fun group, fun people. They're hosting, we're co-hosting it, but they're putting it together. It's Trail Running 101. So
okay.
Again, if you're in the DFW area and you're interested in trail running, maybe a little intimidated by it, don't know anybody, I encourage you to come to the store. It's Thursday at 6, I believe 6 or 6:30. You can look on the website and join us. I mean, it's going to be, I think the trail run's 1 mile, and it may even be like a run walk or maybe even a fast hike. But those type of things, look for groups and sign up for your next race. That's
there you go.
Put something on your calendar, something that you can look forward to and train towards. And so, and that'll keep you motivated and just move away from the naysayers, the doubters,
There you go.
and then use those naysayers and doubters as a way to motivate yourself. You know,
Mhm.
um, haters are usually the ones that are sitting on a couch,
Mhm.
making all the noise. You know,
Yeah.
use their use them as your fuel for your achievements.
There you go. Yeah, it's just like you said, go back to that quote again. For things to happen, you have to put yourself out there. So
Yep.
that's absolutely true. And we are so grateful that you came in here and shared your journey of putting yourself out there. And I love that, you can even tell that Tom really cares about the relationships he has built with the people. He doesn't just work with these people. These are relationships that he's built, which I believe is the future of business. People are going to be looking at more, do I want to have a relationship with this company, with this person, with the person who is in charge here? So I think that's exactly what you're doing, and it has completely altered your creation of your reality. And so if y'all want to find Tom, you can find him on Instagram. We got his TG Monte down there. He's very open, easy to talk to. And your Facebook, I don't have your Facebook. You want to tell him your Facebook real quick?
Tom Monte. Just look me up, Tom Monte. Find me there, and then also I have another Facebook page I keep up. It's just every now and then post inspirational and health type stuff. Some of it's duplicate from my main page, but it's Tom's Health and Inspiration Hub. So I try to just keep everything there. I'm always positive anyway. I try to stay positive anyway, but it's mostly health related and inspirational stuff.
I completely forgot about that one, Tom. Here we go. Tom's Health and Inspiration Hub. Is that it? Did I do it right?
That's it.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Awesome. Awesome. Well, Tom, thank you. Are there any last parting words that you want to share with anyone?
No, just keep moving forward. Regardless of what it is. Oh, and and sometimes I use the word just. And in our store, we have a just and only jar,
Okay.
because every run counts. Regardless of the distance. So if somebody comes in the store and says, I only ran a mile, or I just ran a mile. That's all. Don't use just and only, because everything's important. So
Right.
regardless of your distance, whether it's you're getting off the couch and walking around the block, everything counts. So, and then in the store we say, hey, you owe us $1. Every time they say just, donate it to the local Dallas Off Roads Bike Association. We donate it to them because it's a nonprofit that keeps the trails up.
Oh, nice. Good collaboration there. You're
Yeah,
exactly right. There is no just.
yeah,
When I hear people say that, I tell them there's no just about that. Yeah.
yeah. So well, I appreciate you having me on. I enjoyed it, and thanks for putting up with my long stories.
We enjoy them. We enjoy them. And I want to thank you for taking the time to come on here and explain some of the back end of what happens during a trail run, especially an ultra run, and in your own process of going through them, which has been all the way through. And it was very enlightening. So I appreciate you being on here, Tom, and we can't wait to have you back.
Thank you. I appreciate it and look forward to it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tom. We'll see you soon.
See you. Bye-bye.
All right, everybody, that was Tom. I hope that y'all enjoyed that. And I hope that you have a wonderful day, tree huggers, tree lovers. If you are out and about, go hug a tree today. And I promise you, it'll make you feel better. Don't forget to check us out at 100 for Trees, which is a www.100fortrees.com. And if you would like to donate, it is that web address /donate. We also have a Facebook page, What is Your 100 and 100 for Trees. If you'd like to be interviewed, or you know someone who you would like to have interviewed, you can reach out to us on our website too. It's the website plus / and then interview, or you can just send us a DM on Facebook. All right, y'all, tree huggers and tree lovers, love y'all so much. Hope that y'all have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining us.